Now, this first question comes from a good friend of mine who's a nail professional in Austin, Texas. She called me because someone approached her salon with information related to a new type of UV gel. Now, this information didn't sound quite right, so she contacted me to ask this. What are organic gels and how are they different? What does organic mean when it comes to nail products? And are organic UV gels or gel manicures any safer or better? I was told that some are made from seaweed. Is this true? Well, no, this is not true. There are no UV gels that are made from seaweed. I've heard similar myths before as well. I've heard equally silly claims that UV gels were made based on sugar, which is also false. Now, as I've discussed in previous episodes of this video series, all UV gels are based on acrylic ingredients and all of them cure via UV chemistry. And there's no exceptions to this. None that I've ever seen are made from sugar or seaweed, and I don't see how this could be possible. If UV gels could be made from seaweed or sugar, I would have done this a long time ago, and all companies would probably be doing this by now, don't you think? These deceptions are intended to separate you from your money and to fool nail professionals into thinking that a particular brand of product is safer than another. The facts are, all brand name quality UV gels are safe when they're properly applied and properly cured. My recommendation is to be very leery of any nail coating company that are deceptively marketing their products in this fashion. Now, you've all heard me say it in other episodes that marketing is supposed to be the truth well told, but that doesn't always happen. The word organic is sometimes used to deceive. What does this word mean really? Well, there are actually two very different meanings for the word organic. Originally, organic was a chemical term for any substance that's based on carbon. It's derived from an ancient Greek word, and in the early 1800s, organic was used to describe the chemistry of carbon molecules, which is one of the biggest and most important branches of chemistry. It's important because all living things are based on carbon, which makes all living things organic. What's more, anything that has ever lived or will ever live in the future must be organic. Well, this means that all plants, animals, insects, bacteria, viruses, and fungi, they're all organic. Also, anything that serves as food for living things must be organic because our bodies can only digest organic substances. Now, some examples of things that are not organic are rocks, sand, mineral, water, and air. These are not organic substances. Now, in the 40s, some farmers began to use the term organic farming to describe farming practices that use pesticides and fertilizers that were derived from living things. Even though all food is organic by the chemical definition, over time, some marketers began to misuse this word to mean safe and natural, even though nature is far from safe. In fact, nature is a potentially dangerous place filled with all manners of naturally occurring toxins and poisons. Because this word was being used deceptively to fool people into buying foods that were not grown using organic farming practices, several organizations developed standards to prevent the misuse of this word. The first of these was the USDA, which stands for United States Department of Agriculture, USDA. They developed legal standards that applied only to foods grown according to specific guidelines. These foods are allowed to use the term USDA Organic Certified, and they can put this in their marketing materials or on their packaging. Then the state of California went even further. They went so far as to require that anyone using the term certified organic can only do so if the food met standards for USD organically grown. And the same is for the word organic. You must meet the USDA organically grown standards. Unfortunately, this California regulation is largely ignored and rarely enforced. It's against the California state regulations to claim a product is organic unless it's certified organic. Yet many continue to misuse this term to this very day without any real repercussions. This term originally only applied to foods, and the USDA would not allow it to be used for cosmetics because the organically grown standard was developed for foods and it just made no sense for cosmetics. These standards were already being deceptively used, and the USDA worried that cosmetic manufacturers would also begin to use a certification to fool people and fool the public with false and misleading claims. The USDA warned organic certified marketers that, quote, no distinction should be made between organically grown and non-organically grown products in terms of quality, appearance, or safety, end quote. According to the USDA, organic certified is a preference, not an indication of safety. Obviously, many marketers of such products continue to ignore the USDA and regularly dupe the public with false claims of greater safety when there is little to no evidence to support these marketing claims. Meanwhile, a few cosmetic companies saw that little was being done to stop these false organic claims, and they realized this was a great opportunity to sell their cosmetic products while pretending their products were safer and better. So they threatened a lawsuit against the USDA unless they were allowed to make the same claims and apply them to cosmetics. Well, unfortunately, the USDA backed down and changed the regulation to allow cosmetics to make these claims, largely to avoid a long, drawn-out court battle. Soon, other organizations saw the marketing value of offering organic certifications, so they jumped on the bandwagon and began to develop their own organic standards, the most well-known of which is the European standard EcoCert. Cosmetic ingredients that meet the organic grown standard, which includes processing, handling, were allowed to make the claims certified organic. And products can make these claims as long as at least 70% of these ingredients, not including water, meets the organic standards set forth by either the USDA or other organizations. Water can't be claimed to be organically grown, even though, of course, it's a natural substance. Now, this is when the real trouble began. Soon, some cosmetic manufacturers began suing other cosmetic manufacturers, basically claiming that they were more organic than their competitors. And the situation has gone downhill from there, with some so-called organic cosmetics making all types of outlandish claims and unfair attacks against their competitors. As the old saying goes, that's the pot calling the kettle black. Sadly, those companies that don't stoop to such deceptive practices are placed at an unfair advantage, and they lose market share to companies that bend the rules for their own selfish gain. Of course, not all companies selling certified organic cosmetics are making false claims, but enough do to cause a great deal of confusion and misinformation amongst consumers. So-called organic UV gels, here's a great example. Organic UV gels often use false claims to sell their products, and this points out how professionals are being tricked with this terminology. Again, no UV gel, UV manicure, liquid and powder, nail wrap, or any other type of artificial nail coating is organic certified. All of them are based on organic chemistry, which is the chemistry of substances made of carbon, as you recall I said. That's because all monomers, all oligomers, all polymers, all solvents, catalysts, and initiators are carbon-containing compounds, and in that sense, they're organic. But that's not the same as organic certified, as you now know. So now you can see how the word organic can be used to fool people. My advice is this. Never buy a nail product just because it's supposedly organic. That does not ensure that it's any safer or better. Perhaps it is a superior product. I'm not saying otherwise. I'm simply saying this. Don't buy it just because it's organic. That claim does not ensure it's any safer or of any higher quality. Acetone and formaldehyde are natural and organic. So clearly this term does not mean what most people believe it to mean.